Hey, how is everybody doing? So for today's assignment, we're going to read Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb. This was the poem that she read at the inauguration of Joe Biden, the 46th President of the United States. Her poem uses metaphors and symbolism to great effect. That's the point of today's assignment. We're going to try to analyze her poem and take a look at her metaphors and symbolism. Symbolism is when an object represents a complex idea, like this plant, for instance. A tree or a plant oftentimes represents life, represents renewal, or maybe spring, rebirth. The dove represents peace. A red rose oftentimes represents love, symbolizes love. And a metaphor is when you compare two unlike things. It's figurative language. It's not literally true. If I was to say something like, my little brother is a monster, that would be a metaphor. He's not literally a monster. It just means that he is out of his mind and extremely annoying. So that's what we're going to talk about today a little bit. Today's assignment is assignment number 2. This is our poetry unit. We're going to be reading Amanda Gorman's poem, The Hill We Climb, and we're going to be looking at how she uses metaphor and symbolism to get her point across, to convey meaning. That's our learning target for today. I can analyze the purpose of a poem as well as figurative language used within the poem. So I want everybody to listen to Amanda Gorman read her full poem, The Hill We Climb. You can listen to it in the link that I embedded in the instructions. You can also find it anywhere on YouTube. It's about 5 minutes long, and it's a very powerful poem. It talks a lot about struggle and American history, about all the ups and downs that this country has had. She is a young woman, 22 years old. She is influenced by a lot of the same things that a young person is. She loves music. She was influenced by The Crown and Hamilton while she was writing this poem. She said she hit writer's block, but that she overcame it and pushed through to finish her poem when she saw Confederate flags and the violent riots during January 6th at the Capitol. She uses symbolism and metaphor in this poem, and that's really what I want you to focus on. How does she use these tools, these literary techniques, to show her meaning? So, just a quick refresher, metaphor is a form of figurative language. It's language that can't be taken literally, and it's used to compare two unlike things. He has a heart of gold is a metaphor. It's not literal. He doesn't have a literal heart of gold, or else he'd be dead. He has a figurative heart of gold, and this means that he is probably good-spirited or warm in nature. We're comparing a person to gold, something that is solid and beautiful. Symbolism is a form of figurative language that uses an object to represent an idea or meaning. If an object is used to convey a message, it becomes a symbol. So here are some very common symbols which you might be familiar with. The dove symbolizes peace. The scale in balance in law oftentimes symbolizes fairness or justice. The blue line symbolizes life, but more deeply, water oftentimes symbolizes the preciousness of life. And the yin-yang symbol is a very beautiful ancient Chinese symbol, which oftentimes symbolizes balance and order. So these are the two parts of your assignment today. So you're going to analyze just a section from Amanda Gorman's poem. You can watch the entire thing. You can watch her read the entire poem, which I've embedded in the instructions. But for this part, you're just going to read over the first part of her poem, and I've underlined 4 examples of figurative language. After you read it, you're going to go on to step 2, and I've filled out soapstone, like we talked about last week, but I left the purpose open. It's your job to fill in the purpose. Is she trying to express a feeling, an idea, an experience? How so? And then part 3, you're going to analyze one part of figurative language. I give you an example where I analyze the first underlined example of figurative language, when she says, "Where can we find light in this never-ending shade?" I talk about that right down here in this example. Read that over. Then you're going to choose one of the other underlined examples, one of these, and you're going to talk about it. You're going to explain its meaning in the space below. What's being compared? This requires critical thinking about history and about human behavior, so you might want to read the poem over a couple times. Now, after you finish that, you're going to create your own poem. And this is just a bit of fun. You can write about anything you want. You can write about something that's been on your mind, some deeper feelings you've been struggling with. You can write about past experiences, favorite hobbies or pastimes, sports, activities of yours, a best friend, anything you want. And here's a poem that I wrote. You can read this poem over. And here's some tricks I use in my poem. I use some examples of simile, metaphor, symbols, imagery. So just read my poem over, see the tricks that I use, and then I want you to create your own poem in the space below. Again, it can be short, it can be long, it can be about anything you want. Just try to express some type of feeling or some experience that you've been thinking about lately. And that's all you'll do today for this week's assignment. If you have any questions, message us in chat. Have a good day, everybody.